listening to the TalkBox Society. You're listening to the TalkBox. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let it run one more time. Run it again. I'm gonna let you be on camera. All right. There you go. I'll let you have it.
We do what we do.
All right. You're on live too, on both of them.
Okay.
All right, you guys. It's your girl, Sonia G, here on the TalkBox. We have a wonderful session going on today. I have someone special in the building. I have Pastor Leon Quarter of Cherry Grove Missionary Baptist Church out there on Jurgens Road. Thank you, Pastor, for coming in.
Thank you.
But you know what we say here on the TalkBox, every day above ground is a good day. We got another day, another opportunity to get some things right that we didn't have quite right on yesterday. So, hey, you guys, guess what? We above the dirt, and the dirt is not above us. We already got a caller on the line. For those who want to call in with your comments or questions, it's 615-893-1450. And we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Just in case you missed the topic tonight, it is Black men and Christians voting for Trump. So let's just dive right in. Pastor Quarter, it's so good to have you in the place.
It is a blessing to be here tonight and to be able to talk about a topic that has really touched my heart in so many ways, because we had 4 years of Donald Trump, and we know what that looked like. And now he has recycled and come around again. But the thing that amazes me is how many Black men and how many Christians dismiss the dyslexia of Donald Trump.
Okay.
And so I really wanted to just reach out and first of all, I ain't a politician. I'm not into politics. I'm a realist.
All right.
And if something doesn't make sense to me, I don't try to make sense of it. And so what does not make sense to me is how Black men can dismiss the bad behavior of Donald Trump. And every time I look at different shows, these Black men, these different political shows, these Black men make excuses for Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And one thought that came to my mind the other day is when I think about all the bad behavior of Donald Trump and all these men that wants to support him, is if your daughter brought Donald Trump home or told you she was bringing Donald Trump home with her, would you allow him to be in your house?
That's deep.
And if you wouldn't allow Donald Trump to date your daughter, why would you let him date us as our president?
All right.
And so, and then it goes to Christians. The same Christians that tell our children, we tell them not to lie, not to cheat, not to steal. Donald Trump has done all of that and more. And we still would not allow him. If it was a pastor in a church, we would kick him out quick now in a hurry. Mm-hmm. But they want to endorse Donald Trump to let him be over the country. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, here's another analogy with that. And full disclaimer, everybody who don't know, for a long while now, I had been a Republican, but it was because I'm a business owner and I was producing up under that political affiliation. However, when Trump came in, he negated the Republican Party and just started MAGA. Mm-hmm. So I tell people, I understand that it's a difference between being a Republican and being MAGA, but we have to make sure that we're using common sense.
Yes.
I said the analogy of this: If he came in and put in an application of that authentic tax service, he couldn't come work up there.
Nope.
He lie, he cheat, he steals, and everything is just laid out on the table. And now it's getting worse and worse and worse. On yesterday, he was on TV talking about the size of another man's genitalia.
Yeah.
You know, so that just goes to show that the things that he said about Biden, that's why we got to be careful, people.
Mm-hmm.
What we say about somebody else, it'll come back home to you. So the things that he was saying about Biden and how old he was and the things that he was doing is coming back on him.
Yeah. And one of the things that I look at in his rhetoric, when he intentionally disrespects Kamala's name, he's not just disrespecting her, he's actually disrespecting the Black race.
Mm-hmm.
Because the most important thing to us is our name. And when you disrespect our name intentionally, you are disgracing every one of us, not only the female, but the male also.
Right.
He did the same thing with Barack Obama. He did the same thing with Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. So what he does, he attacks the one that's in front of him, but he's sending it out, blowing whistles for all of them.
Right.
So when it was Hillary, it was women. He was degrading all women, but Hillary was in front of him. When it was Barack, he was disgrading Barack, but there were Black men in front of him.
Right.
And now with Kamala, he's disrespecting her. And he's not only disrespecting a Black woman, he's disrespecting the Black race.
That's true. Do we still have a caller on the line?
They're still on.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on. Hello. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And who is this that we're speaking with? Well, hello, caller. Thank you so very much for calling in. We appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Continue to watch the show. We do have a question online. Dwayne Porter is asking, do you think that Black men that are supporting Trump are simply uneducated?
No, I don't think that. I think they're very educated. What they are interested in is their pocketbooks. And so the myth, the theory is under Donald Trump, we had a better economy. What we don't take a look at is the economy that Donald Trump inherited came off of the back of Barack Obama.
It did.
And so after 8 years of Barack Obama, the economy had gotten in line. Donald Trump was doing some things that Barack had already started. So you can't look at the first 2 years of Donald Trump. You have to look at the last 2 years, which then towards the end, we were dealing with COVID. Mm-hmm. He mishandled that by telling us we could drink Clorox and take it away.
Yeah.
And so the things that were good under Trump ended with Obama, mm-hmm. and then Trump messed that up. So I think that the Black men are educated, but one of the things that blacks continue to say, men continue to say, is that we had a better economy. Mm-hmm. And my question is this right here: does your pocket mean more to you than your integrity?
Oh, that's good.
Because we have a system where felons cannot vote, mm-hmm. but we're letting a felon run for president.
Yes, that's great. That's great.
And so, yeah, I believe they're educated. They're just more interested in their pocketbook than they are their country, because they say they love our country, but you'll allow Donald Trump, who's trying to destroy the country. And when he says we're trying to destroy it, what he's doing is using fear tactics.
And a reflection of himself. I'll even go further than that. When you're talking about inflation, I just had some heated fellowship right before I came here with someone at my husband's little hangout spot. And here's the truth of the matter as well. Inflation is all over the world. Mm-hmm. And when you take a look at everything in its entirety, we're still, even though we're battling with inflation, we're still number 2 in the world for dealing with inflation. Mm-hmm. So that is not a good argument coming when you're dealing with me. The other thing is, how is he going to vote if he's a felon? See, I had to fight to get my rights back.
That's right.
And so you're going to have an ankle bracelet on. He's supposed to have an ankle bracelet on, which you probably don't. But you're supposed to have an ankle bracelet on. You've already been convicted. So you're not even supposed to be able to get a job. If you go put in a job application and they pull a background check on you and you got charges pending, okay, you can't get a job.
Yep.
So we as Black people, whoever, this isn't even a Black issue. I'm talking about people in general. If you're voting for someone like that, you need to check your own self, because something is wrong. And then the thing about it is, you have him doing and saying all of this crazy stuff that you wouldn't even tolerate if Barack Obama or anybody else would have did any of the stuff that this man has done. They would have already charged him with treason.
Yeah.
And again, disclaimer, I come from a Republican background. And there's something else, and I'm going to let you have it. Here's the other problem I have. When your own wife won't sit back and support you when you're running for the highest law of the land, when 65% of your cabinet that was with you during that time have come out against you, that speaks volumes. So I don't know what the Black man problem is, but I'm not saying that we as Black people have to vote for Kamala because she's Black, but you need to not vote for Trump because you're Black.
Well, I can tell you a part of the problem with Black men is for years, whether it's the church or the world or the community, Black men have a problem with women having authority or being in a position of authority. And so when a lot of Black men look at Kamala for the president, they see a woman in authority. And so to those Black men, I would like to ask you, how was it when your mother, who had to work 2 or 3 jobs to feed you, to raise you, and you've turned out the way you have, she was in authority. She was in authority to take care of that household when your daddy left. She was an authority in raising you. And so a lot of things, like I say, if it doesn't make sense to me, I don't try to make sense of it. But when you have someone that's a hater, when somebody that degrades everybody, another reason why they won't stand up against him is because they feel like if they vote for Donald Trump or they step up against him, he's going to call them names. He's going to disrespect them. He's already disrespecting you. He's just not calling out your name. And so at some point, you have to take a stance and stand for what's right. This is my thing. If I was a Republican and Donald Trump was our candidate, I would rather lose an election for 4 years, for the next 4 years, regroup, re-up, and then go forward. But the last thing I would want to do is have 4 years of this right here to continue to tear down the country because it's one man that's doing it, because he instilled fear in people and they refuse to stand up. Where are the women of these men? How can a wife stand by a man that's scared of another man? That's a topic for another day.
I got something even better than that. If you're not gonna be afraid of Donald Trump, then there's something as Black and brown people we should be afraid of, and that's Project 2025.
Yes.
I have read it. It took me quite a while to read it, but I took down some very important notes when it comes to Project 2025. Something we Black and brown people are wrongfully convicted all the time. Well, in Project 2025, they want to implement, and I'll tell you what page it's on. That way y'all can find it for yourself. Page number 554. They're implementing instant death penalty.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And that's Donald Trump in the shell. And the other aspect of this that I really struggle with is Christians.
Oh, yeah.
So when we go to Exodus chapter 3, when God got a hold of Moses and wanted Moses to deliver the people, God said, I've heard the prayer of the people. I've heard how they've been mistreated, how they've been dogged out. I'm paraphrasing now. And he said, but Moses, I want you to go tell Pharaoh to let my people go because of how the people were being treated. So you have a Donald Trump. Pharaoh was a king. Donald Trump wants to be in the bed with Putin and the king of China, these dictators, and they run their countries singular. They are the one that is dominant. Donald Trump wants that type of power. We have a 78-year-old man that cannot coherently put a sentence together. That his defense for his diplomacy is always running down people. That ought to tell you everything you need to know. And when Christians turn their back. I believe in forgiveness, but we forgive those who repent and ask God for forgiveness.
Right.
Donald Trump does not ask for forgiveness. So here we are as Christians trying to give him something he doesn't even ask for.
Or deserve.
Or deserve.
All right. Because the thing is, I want to go through a couple of these, if that's okay, Pastor Porter. Page 319, they want to eliminate the Department of Education. And let me go back to my heated fellowship that I just had. That people are trying to psych themselves out saying, well, Donald Trump is not connected to Party 2025. Well, I beg to differ. Number one, his vice presidential pick wrote the forward. That's number one. Right. Number two, the people that he is getting ready to put into his cabinet all have a step and a hand in Project 2025. The ones that he's going to make and put in his cabinet has written some of these things, eliminating the Department of Education 319, erasing the history of slavery 342. These are the page numbers. Page 554, instant death penalty and ignoring wrongful imprisonment. Page 445, mandatory reporting of all pregnancies and abortions, and that and giving up to death penalty for the person who gets an abortion and or the person who gives the abortion. Page 337, ending loan forgiveness. That got a lot to do with us. Page 583. Something that helped me start my business 20 years ago. They're going to end equal employment opportunity. That means they can come in and get rid of you and have no recourse behind it. And page 465, repealing Obamacare and inflation. But here go one right here. Page 696, they want to lower the corporate tax rate down to just 17%, but up the tax rate on people who make less than $250,000. Now I'm just gonna tell you, I ain't in that boat, but I'm still rooting for those who are.
Yeah. Well, you know, the reality is we have a saying, we always talk about common sense. What I've learned in these last few years with Donald Trump, common sense really ain't that common. When you get to a place in your life that you will, for a woman that is raped and wants to have an abortion because she was raped or whatever that may be, and you have a man that will tell a woman how she can control her body, that's too much power for any individual to have.
Right.
And so we have to wake up. We have to stop sitting back and allowing our politicians to determine how we're going to live our lives. And it's time for Christians and the African-American community. Like I said, I'm not a politician, but when something bothers me, I'm not going to sit back and not say, no. If it's a Republican that's moral, a Republican that has good policy, a Republican that's going to get in there and make change, I'm for that Republican.
Right.
But when it's a joke, when it's a clown, when it's a hater, I can't sit back and not say anything, especially for the community who knows that this country is already divided.
Right.
And we need a president that wants to bring us together. And I believe Kamala Harris will bring us together where we can move forward the way that we're supposed to, not only the African-American community, but the church community, Christian community as well.
Yeah. So that means that everybody needs to go ahead and first of all, you need to be registered to vote, and you need to go out and vote. Our forefathers fought hard for us to be able to vote. And I'm not trying to browbeat anybody into voting for Kamala, but I just want to bring the evidence to the table. You know, my heated fellowship, I got to go back to it because he said, well, she won't answer one question. Well, I don't know what you're watching other than Fox and Newsmax because she answers questions. And when she answers questions, she makes sense. When you ask Trump the other day, he sat up there and said to the audience at a town hall, let's not answer no questions no more. Let's just listen to music. And he sat up there and listened to music for 39 minutes. If you don't see something wrong with that, then I know for a fact you done drunk the Kool-Aid, my friend. And it reminds me of the biblical times when they said, God, we want a king.
Yep.
We want a king. Yep. We want a king. And God is keep on telling us and showing us in Donald Trump's actions that that's not what you want. That ain't what you want, boo-boo.
Listen.
That ain't what you want.
Let me give you this real quick. I'm going to go through this real quick. These are qualities of a bad leader from the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 1:7, bad leaders despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 1:22, they hate knowledge. Proverbs 4:19, can't sleep unless they've done wrong. Proverbs 5:23, lacks discipline, crooked speech, lying lips, utter slander, trust in riches, ensnares the transgressions of life, utters deceit, reckless and careless, quick-tempered, pride, seeks rebellion, accepts bribes, takes no pleasure in understanding, but only wants to express his opinion, haughty eyes and proud heart, desires evil, puts on bold face, does not understand justice, cruel oppressor, gives full vent to his spirit, listens to falsehoods, hasty in his words, drinks and forget what he has been decreed, perverts the right of the afflicted. That's all in the book of Proverbs.
Give that Proverbs what, Pastor?
It goes from Proverbs 1 all the way down to Proverbs 29.
Oh, man, that describes Donald Trump.
If you look in the dictionary in the Proverbs for a bad leader, his face is there.
Oh, my.
Donald Trump displays everything of character that does not line up with who we are as a people and as a country.
Right.
And I just want to encourage you that if you've never voted before, do what you need to do, because every vote counts.
Yes.
And when you have people that they won't say that Donald Trump lied. What they will do is skirt around the question and make excuses for him.
Yes.
It's bad when somebody will make excuses for your bad behavior, and the same people that make excuses for your bad behavior, if they did the same thing, they would be persecuted and prosecuted.
That's right. That's right. And, we have to be careful too, because when you shut down and you're in this bubble, because I think that's what's happening to a lot of people. But see, I'm biblical based, and God told me in his word that in the last days, even the very elite is going to be hoodwinked and bamboozled. So you have to study to show yourself approved, not just the Bible, because the Bible teaches us all kinds of principles and stuff. But you got to pick up Project 2025 and see if you want to deal with it. You got to stop just looking at, I look at both of them. Because you can't make an educated decision if you don't have all the information. I say all the time, you can't fix what you won't face, and you can't fix what you can't identify.
That's good.
And so you can't do those things if you don't have the necessary information to make an informed decision. So in my heated fellowship before I got here, the last thing I said is, baby, you done drunk the Kool-Aid. So it ain't nothing I can do. But we need to keep on praying and pray for those in leadership. Do I agree with everything with Kamala? No, I do not. However, when you look at the two that's running, then Kamala is the better choice. And that's we have to be honest and say it how it is.
For me, I'll read Project 2025, but I can also read the candidate that's behind Project 2025.
Oh, yeah.
You cause it insurrection. You basically rape women. You had a debate, and on the stage, you had a black person sitting to the right of you and saying, "This is my black." So all you have to do is read that book by the cover. You don't have to make excuses. You don't have to say, "No, he didn't mean that." No, when somebody shows you who they are,
believe them.
You better believe them the first time, the second time, the third time, and then every time. Because Donald Trump continues to show he's not embarrassed about who he is.
No,
he's not ashamed about what he says. And you have individuals, as I said again, I want to make this clear. You have people making excuses for him that he doesn't even make excuses for himself. And so we're better than that. Yeah. We're wiser than that. We're smarter than that. And so when Barack Obama, he spoke to some black men about a week or so ago, and they said that he was acting like a father and disciplining them. You have to know the difference between discipline and understanding. He's trying to draw you to understanding, because you ought to be wise enough to make the right decision.
Right.
And in this situation, I just want to encourage every black man, every Christian to step out on what you believe that's right. And if Donald Trump ain't right, you can't make him right by trying to make him right.
No. And we can't make excuses. That's just like when our kids was cutting up in school. You know, I know what Santoya would do. I know what Lil Danny would do. And so I can't make excuses for their bad behavior. But a couple of things happened a long time ago. Before Trump even got into politics, he used to say on the Howard Stern show, if you want to look it up, he said that he was gonna have to switch parties because the Republicans was gonna be dumb enough to let him get in there.
That's what he said.
That's number one. Number two, when you go way back and they found some old footage of his mother, and his mother warned, just hopefully he won't get into politics. Now, if your own mama, it done said something. If your wife won't stand by you and all of that, hey, that's a problem. We got another caller on the line. Caller, you're there. Caller, are you there?
They should be on now.
Yes. Hey, Dr. Gresham. We are blessed by the best up here. Thank you so very much for listening. Yeah, it's some kind of echo, Dr. Gresham, but we thank you so very much for listening. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up, but we probably going to have to do a part 2.
God bless you. Hey.
Thanks, Dr. Gresham. All right, well, Pastor Carter, is there anything else you would like to wrap up on, and will you commit to doing a part 2?
Yes, I will. And I'll say this in closing. If you wouldn't let Donald Trump in your house, why would you let him in the White House?
Right.
Because the White House is about everybody. And the White House is just as important as your house, because what happens from there affects your house.
Yeah.
And so use wisdom, use understanding, and 2 things, pray and trust God. And when you've done all you can do, God will do all you can't do.
Oh, amen, amen, amen. Well, I just want to remind everybody that
thank my Swift Tabernacle, my Cherry Grove family. Thank you so much for being on tonight.
All right, all right. Well, thank you, Pastor Porter, for coming on and giving your view of Black men and Christians voting for Trump. We done gave you some information that you need to use. And honey, go out and vote. Our forefathers fought hard for that. And so I just want to thank everybody for coming on. We're going to have Pastor Clyde Gresham on next week. And so we're going to get it in, you guys. You don't have but 17 or 16 more days to election time. So go and vote. I'm your girl, Sonia G, here on the TalkBox. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, listening to the TalkBox side. Yeah, listening to the TalkBox. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Say something.